Afternoon, friends. Welcome to our backtesting jam session. And today we are back with another session. We'll be playing our guessing game here. And the purpose here is for us to backtest our daily strategy. So the strategy is very simple. We are just looking at daily candlesticks, and based on the daily candlesticks, we are trying to find the market direction for the following day. So this strategy is good for finding market direction for the following day. We're just looking for the next day. So one of the challenges that I hear most traders have is just knowing where the market is going. And if we get really good at figuring out the market direction, then figuring out where to enter and exit the trades becomes easier. So that's what we're going to be doing here. This is Forex tester software that I'm using, and this is pound US dollar chart that we'll be working with. This is the daily chart, and here we have started the test. I paused it so that I can go one candlestick at a time, because if I let it run, it will just go through. So you can automate testing of the strategies with this one as well, but we don't want to do that because we are interested in honing our skills in figuring out market direction. We're going to go bar by bar, so we'll go one bar at a time and we'll figure out the market direction from there. All right, so who is ready to participate here? We are making a game of it, and the purpose will be to guess the next candle, to see where the next candle will go. So what we have here is we have come into the support level here. Price had reacted at that level previously. Now we have come back into that support resistance level right here, and the price has closed with an indecision candle. So one of the things that we do want to pay attention to here is the shape of the candlesticks. When we have a strong candlestick, something like this, a strong bearish candlestick, we're looking for a follow through to the same side. And when we have a strong bullish candlestick, we're looking for a follow through in that direction. So essentially, as long as we keep getting strong candlesticks, whether that's a bullish or a bearish candlestick, we are looking for the trend to continue. However, when we start getting indecision candlesticks or we start getting pins, then we either look for market to reverse, like in this case where we have a pin and market reverse, or when we get an indecision candle, then we don't really know which direction market is going to go in. So at the moment we have an indecision candle. So any guesses on what we are going to do with this particular instance? Okay, so I will start off here, and then you guys can jump in whenever you are ready to make a guess. Just put a comment in, and I will take your guess. So with this one, because it's an indecision candle, it may be one of those days where we do not trade. So in this type of scenario, what I would look for is price to retest the bottom level here, the bottom again, and then if the price stays above this level, then generally the chances are it's going to go higher back into the support and resistance area. But if once it's testing this and it closes bearish below this support resistance level, then I would be looking for price to continue lower. So let's see what happens here. So I'm looking for price to drop into this level and test this level once again. Let's see if that happens. There we go. So price dropped into the level and then closed below that level. So we are into the next support and resistance area with this one here as well. However, because we have closed below this previous one, this is a strong bearish candle. Any guesses on where this is going to go next now? So in this type of a scenario, because it is a strong bearish candle here, I would be looking for price to continue to the downside. And generally what happens is before price continues, it will pull back a bit and then drop. So that's what I'm looking for, so my bias in this case is to the downside, and the next support and resistance level that I'm looking for would be the bottom of this pin here, bottom of this candle. So let's take a look.
So in just under 10 minutes time, we will see the RBNZ official cash rate decision. A little snippet from live, none of the 18 economists surveyed by Bloomberg.
If you heard my audio feed in the back there, my apologies. I always have my audio feed on so that I can hear what's going on in our in the market without having to go check the news. Okay, so going back to our testing here, let's take a look. There we go, price dropped. So this one is still a bearish candle. So what do you think will happen next? So in this case, feel free to put your guess in the comments, because it doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong, but if you will engage with the exercise, you will find that your skills will improve. So don't worry about being right or wrong. We're just having fun. So just feel free to put your comments in and guess the direction. So in this case, because it has dropped, I'm looking for price to drop further. So looking for price to go into this previous support and resistance level that I mentioned here. So still looking for price to drop. So let's take a look. Am I right or not? Okay, so we're still holding below this previous support and resistance level. Price hasn't really done a whole lot. It's just gone sideways here. So I'm still looking for price to drop. Let's take a look. There we go. We are almost into that support and resistance area. That's a nice candle close there. So I'm looking for still a further bearish move. But as we get closer into the bottom of this, this level here, we could be coming into support. So we could start seeing pullbacks and things like that. So we'll be cautious. But overall, I'm looking for price to drop into that level and then further down. So bias is still bearish. So let's take a look. So we dropped into that exact level here. Now we have pushed back. Now this isn't a fully bullish engulfing candle, which means the bias is still to the downside. But because buyers have stepped in, we have to be cautious because it can go all the way back up to this support and resistance level here. So my bias is still to the downside here. Let's take a look. Pulls back. Now we are starting to pull back further into this level. So it looks like we're going to get there. So I'm looking for price to go up either into the top here or further up into the bottom of this pin. So looking for price to pull back a little bit. Now overall, the direction hasn't quite changed yet. We are still bearish. However, we're looking for pullback. So generally what happens is we see drop, we see price pull back, and then potentially further drop. The only time we can really consider this to be a directional change is when price closes on the other side with a bullish candle here. So right now the candles are quite small, so which means we're looking for a pullback. So I'll be looking for price to pull back further there. So let's take a look. There we go. It pulls into the previous support and resistance level here. Now we have a little bearish pin bar. So after the bearish pin bar, any guesses on what happens? Okay, so once we get a bearish pin bar here, we are back into our previous level of support and resistance. So I'm looking for price to drop back down towards this level once again. So let's see if we get that. It pushes up further. I am still, so at this point, so now we are into this next support and resistance level. We have two options here. Either the price will close on the other side of this candle, in which case we are going further then, so price becomes bullish, or price will close down here. So in this case, I would be very cautious. So when we are trading from the daily candlestick, I would actually not take a trade from the daily, but I would go on a smaller time frame, like an hourly time frame, and see how the price is reacting on the other side of it, whether it holds on the other side or does it come back down. So let's take a look here. Now we have a solid candlestick close, bullish candlestick close on the other side of our support resistance, which means there's room for price to move up further. So in this case, what do you think we are likely to have? Do you think we will continue or go lower? So bullish or bearish? Where are we going? Let's take a guess. Anybody ready to go ahead with it? If you're anytime you want to join me in guessing this, it's just fun and games here. So just put your comment in the comment box there. All right, so in this case, I will take a guess. Well, I'm looking for price to go higher. So let's take a look. I'm looking for it to go into this support and resistance first and then over into the higher one. Let's take a look. Here we go. It doesn't quite make it that far. Pushes back down a little bit. So let's see if it will continue higher. There we are. A lot of times what happens is when we have a bullish candle like this, we'll get a pullback and then price goes back into the support resistance area. So now we are into that next level that we had just talked about. We have a nice solid bullish candle close here. We're back into our resistance level. So I will look for a pullback and see if price can close on the other side of the support resistance, because then we are looking for price to continue further. So let's take a look, see if we can get a close on the other side there. So right now the bias is bullish and I'll be looking for price to continue further. However, because we are into resistance, we just have to be cautious here. And again, I would wait in these kind of circumstances when we are at important support and resistance level. I would drop down to a lower time frame. From the daily, my bias would be bullish, but then I would drop down to a smaller time frame to actually go place a trade. If the price holds on the other side here, I will be looking for a long trade. The bias is bullish. Here we go. It closes right into this level. It's not able to break. So we do need to see a close on the other side for it to really turn bullish. So let's try again. There we are. It's not able to close above. And this is what tends to happen at important support and resistance levels. That's why we have to watch for that close on the other side, because if we just take a long based on a solid candle close here, we can basically be in trouble. And usually with the daily candlesticks, the problem happens at the turning points. That's where I always end up in trouble because I'm still looking for price to continue in a particular direction. So it's the support and resistance, important support and resistance levels that we have to be careful with. Okay, so from here, I would be looking for price to drop because we are experiencing a price having or struggling with the resistance level. So I'm looking for price to drop. Let's take a look. So it drops, but then it closes with this pin bar, which means there isn't a lot of strength to the downside. Now I'm looking to see if the price will continue higher here. So this candle here was still tradable because we could have taken a trade and we would have made money on this. So it's where the price goes is the direction that we are trying to guess, and that's why the direction is so important. All right, so with this one, now I'm looking to see if the price will close above. So I'm looking for price to go up higher. But if it doesn't manage to close above, it could just give us a rejection, reversal candle right here again, and then we'll turn bearish on this one. So let's take a look if we can get a close above. There we go. We're still pushing into that support resistance area. So I'm still looking for a close to the upside here. So the bias still remains bullish. There we go. Price tries to break out. So this is our fake out, a false breakout. Price doesn't quite close on the other side. It is just going sideways at the moment. So from here, either we need to see a close above or a solid close below this level, because it seems to be stuck at this level for 5 days in a row. Okay, so let's take a look. In this case, either we need a solid close above or below. Let's take a look what we get. There we go. There's our close above. So now we're looking for price to continue higher. And our target here would be the top of these candles here, the top of those pins. So I'm looking for a bullish move because that's a nice bullish candle close here. There we go. It doesn't quite give us that. Let's see. So this may pull back a bit here into this previous level before it decides to continue. Let's take a look. Okay, so still going sideways here. There we go. So that one is actually not a pullback. That looks kind of like a reversal candle. It looks like price got stuck at this level and didn't quite make it to the next high. Okay, so after this candle close, any guesses on where we expect the price to go? Okay, anybody feeling brave enough to jump in with the mix here with me and guess? Okay, looks like everybody's holding back, so no worries. All right, so my guess here is that we see another drop and look for price to go back into this next level here. So I am looking for a bearish move from here. So it drops, comes into the next level, doesn't quite make it here, but this is again not a very solid candle close, and overall our bias is to the upside, which means that this could turn to the upside. So I would be careful with this type of a candle close. This is not a solid candle close. This is kind of like a pin bar here, and price could continue higher. So this one is one of those days where I would be looking for a smaller time frame candle close and see where price wants to go. So right now, I would just wait and see. So let's see. There we go. So now we're turning bullish, and now I'm looking for price to go up into the high once again. So let's take a look. There we are. So that's a solid candle close, but again, we run into that resistance. So let's see if we can get through it. Okay, finally, it tries to break above, and now we are back into that support resistance level. That is a solid resistance. So expect price to struggle at that level. So let's see if we can get through, or do we get a reversal candle? So my bias right now is that price will go and test this level once again, and then we need to see how it reacts to that level. Okay, here we are. It doesn't quite make it to that level. We get a bearish candle. So based on this, it's not exactly a solid bearish engulfing candle close, but nonetheless, it is a bearish candle, which means we could see a drop back into this support and resistance level. So it's not exactly reversal, but I am looking for price to drop here. So bias is bearish. Let's take a look. Not quite. It wants to push up higher here. So it's just a pullback. So now price wants to continue higher. So my bias is bullish. There we go. We're into the next level. The bias is still bullish. We have gone up here. So bias is bullish based on that candle close. There we are. We are back into the next level of support and resistance. And now we are going to start getting into some resistance area here. So multiple days where we had price struggle, but we do have a good solid bullish candle close, which means we can go higher here. So my bias remains bullish here. So let's take a look. There we are, goes almost into that candle. And now we have a pin bar. Now with the pin bar, anyone willing to take a guess here as to where we expect the price to go after a pin bar? So we've been going up all this time. Now we are into our resistance level, into the previous price point where price had turned. Now, where do we expect to go from here? Any guesses on that? Everybody's being very quiet today. All right, so I'll take a guess. We are into this double top type of situation. We were here, we came into resistance, and we are back into resistance again. So I'm looking for price to drop back down here. So my bias here would be bearish. So let's take a look. So it pulls back. So one thing to keep in mind when we do have these pin bars, we are looking for about a 50% pullback, or 38 to 50% pullback in that. So this one is not exactly bullish engulfing candle. It's still an inside candle here. So I'm still looking for price to drop. Let's take a look. There we go. And that's our big bearish engulfing candle close. So that's a reversal candle. And from here, we would be looking for price to drop. But one thing to keep in mind, sometimes we can get big pullbacks when we have large candles like this. So with this one, my bias is still bearish. Let's take a look if we can get there. There we are, nice bearish candle close. Now with this, still looking for a bearish move because that's a good solid candle close. So what I mean by good solid candle close is where in this case, that's a bearish engulfing candle. That means if you were to put this candle on top of these previous candles, it would hide these candles. That means that sellers have stepped in. Now they are strongly, the bias has moved to the downside. So we're looking for price to continue to the downside here. And this candle, the reason this is a solid candle close or bearish candle close is because we have a pin on the top and price closes right into the bottom of the candle, which shows that there is still momentum to the downside. So as a result of that, we're looking for price to drop further here and looking for price to go into this 160.60 area here back into the bottom. So let's take a look if we get there. We have a bit of a pullback, which is okay, which is normal. So still looking for a drop. Okay, so with this one, now we have an indecision candle close. So we do see a drop. However, we see price pulls back into the high and then it closes with pins on both sides. So now this is an indecision candle. We don't have a big bullish close here and looking for price to continue. So I will look for price to test lower here and then move up higher. So let's take a look. Okay, so it drops back into this level, doesn't exactly go into the bottom, but pulls back, and then we have a bullish candle close. So from here, we're looking for price to continue higher. So let's take a look. There we go, nice bullish candle close. I'm looking for price to continue higher back into that resistance area. There we go. So price goes into the next support and resistance area and then closes below. So even though we're looking for a bullish move and the candle has closed bearish, that's totally okay because it moved up first before it closed to the downside. So all that tells us that now we have a triple top. And any guesses on what happens after we see a triple top? Where are we expecting the price to go? Any guesses on that? All right, so I will take a guess. After a nice bearish candle close, triple top setup here, we're looking for price to drop. So I'm looking for price to drop further here. I'm bearish. Let's see if we can get that drop here. Okay, so it looks like everybody is guessing, but I am not able to see these your guesses for some reason here. So let me just open this on. Sorry, Joel and Socrates, Schumann, you guys have been guessing. So I guess you can hear me, but I just cannot see you. Okay, so I'm going to look at my phone for the comments. They're not coming through for some reason, which is strange, but keep on guessing. I have it on my phone here so I can see you guys there. Perfect. Thank you. Yes, I can finally see you. Thank you for putting the comment in because I did see that come through my phone. All right, so let's guess. Okay, where are we guessing? Which direction do we expect this to go now? Okay. I am looking for price to, okay, so I'm looking for price to drop from here. So let's take a look. All right. Okay, perfect. Let's take a guess. Down. Yes, looking for price to drop. There we go. That's a nice big drop. So the important thing to remember and the takeaway here is the second time when we had a double top, right, price dropped, and then we had a triple top and price dropped further. So this is a very important lesson. When you see price come into this type of support resistance area and it closes like this, that's a big level here. we are looking for price to drop. And as we can see, that was a really nice drop. So very good on everyone who took a guess there and called a lower move, because that's exactly what happens when we have a triple top trade setup, whether that's on a daily or an hourly or a 4-hour candle. We're looking for price to drop further from there. And now we have a huge bearish candle close. It's a bearish engulfing candle. It engulfs this previous price action. In this case, because it's so strong, we could get a pullback. So I would keep that in mind. We could get a pullback into this level here and then a further drop. But overall, what direction would you be looking for from here? Okay, I am looking for price to drop further here. So let's take a look. If price drops, but again, we could get a pullback, so keep that in mind. There we go. It drops further, and now we have a pin bar. What do we expect here now? What happens after a pin bar? Okay, so one guess is down. Is that correct? I'm not sure if it's coming through. With this one, it would actually, my guess would be to the upside, bullish actually, because what has happened here is the opposite of what we saw here. So we have price goes into the next support resistance level and then drops from there because it's hit resistance. Now we are hitting support, which means price could try to test this level once again and then bounce off of that. So overall direction would be bullish, but just like this one, we could pull back. So I'd be looking for price to drop a bit and then go higher. Yeah, so absolutely. So we're looking for test one more time and then price to move up higher. So overall, looking for price to move higher because we are into this previous support level at this point. So let's take a look. There we go. As we can see how price came down and then pushed up higher. It's exactly the same thing as this one, except it did it in one candle, where in this case, it did it in two different candles. So here we are. Now, where do we expect the price to go? So we have a nice bullish candle close, and we are looking for, where are we looking for price to go? Oh, just a comment on that. What I would do in this case is I would go down to, again, to a lower time frame, and I would be looking for a pullback, or we could just put a pending order expecting a pullback, and if that order gets taken in, it gets taken in. So sometimes we can miss it with the pending orders, but the beauty of pending orders is that we don't have to be in front of our computers in order to take the trade. Okay, so now we are looking for up. Yes, that's correct. Let's take a look. Oh, doesn't quite go up, so pulls back down. So it looks like that was just a pullback and not exactly a market reversal. So in that case, we will be wrong. All right, so now where are we looking for price to go to? Actually, I would have guessed up to here. So all right, so now we have a bearish candle close. Where are we looking for price to go? So right now, price is going sideways. With this one, the way I'm looking at the market here is we're looking for price to drop, looking for it to go back. It went up, and now I would actually be looking for price to drop down further into this level again. See if it'll come test this level, because overall bias is to the downside. We have a pullback, and now I'm looking for price to continue to the downside here. So let's take a look. There we go. Price comes into the next support area. So we still have a good solid candle close. So as we can see, there's a difference between this candle here and this candle close here. So now where do we expect price to go from here? Yeah, so perfect. So nice one, Sunny. Let's take a look. So we are into support, but the momentum is still to the downside. Our bias is to the downside. So I'm looking for price to drop further. So let's see if it does that. Oh, it does not do that. It came right into our support here and pushed all the way up. So this is one of those days when we would be wrong. So in this case, we're looking for, generally with this strategy, our success rate will be about 75%, 70 to 75%. So there would be that 25 to 30% of the times when we will be wrong. And that's why it's important to have a stop loss in place in case we are wrong and price switches direction on us. Okay, so now where do we expect price to go after that? Yes, absolutely. It could be a news event that causes these big shifts, especially like this one here as well. This one, a lot of times they are news events, and then price just catches this momentum and then starts going. All right, so now that we have this big bullish engulfing candle close, where are we expecting the price to go to? Okay, yes, nice, Schumann. I would guess up as well. So I'm looking for price to drop into this previous support and resistance level here, potentially, or could go a little bit lower. But overall, because it's such a big candle close, there can be some closing of the orders, and as a result, it could pull back and then go up. I would actually be looking for an up move here. Let's take a look. Okay, so I have some guesses for down, some for up. Let's see where it goes. Okay, pulls back. So let's see, does that turn? Does that turn? It is bearish. Okay, so everybody who said bearish was right. I did not look at this side here. So now we are still bearish. All right, let's take a look. Okay, we're going sideways here. So basically what's happening right now, as we can see, is price is just going sideways between these two levels. So right now we are in the middle here. So I've looked for price to drop a little bit further back into the bottom of this range here. Let's see if it does that. There we go. So we're closing right into the bottom, looking for we have closed below our previous level here. So now we are bearish on this. Price has given us a big bearish candle. So now where do we go from here? Anyone wanting to hazard a guess as to where we're going to go next? Down? Yes, I would look for price to go down as well. Let's see if it gets to this next level that we have here. Okay, so it goes down, and a lot of times, actually, this is just an interesting side note here. A lot of times, price will pull back. So when you're placing your pending order, I usually look for a pullback and then place a pending order. Once in a while, you will miss that, but overall, you do tend to catch the pullbacks, and it also makes the stop smaller as well when we look for pullbacks. Okay, so now we have a bearish pin bar here. Where are we expecting it to go? Down, down, down. I see multiple down. Yes, I will look for price to go down as well. And let's see if we are correct. There we go. Very nice. Big bearish candle close here. Now where are we expecting it to go? So in this case, since we have a big bearish candle close, again, we can look for a pullback. I will look for a pullback into this previous support and resistance level. It's nice, 1.5917 to 20 area there. And then look for price to drop. So let's see if we can get a further drop. There we go. It doesn't quite pull back as high, but it does pull back a bit. And now we are into the next support and resistance area. Okay, bullish, perfect. All right, so what I would say here is overall momentum is to the downside, but we are into this strong support level where price has reacted previously, which means we could it could go up from here. And let's take a look. And Joel, you're saying bullish. We have A, B, C, D levels. So we saw a drop, pull back, and drop. Yes. So let's see if we get price. If price pulls back again here. So we have sideways move, price hasn't broken the bottom here. It is bearish or doji, I should say. But this is the case where I would be careful. I would want the price. I would like to see the price. This is where we go to a smaller time frame. Overall, I am my bias is to the downside, but it could pull back. So we need to see a price close below this level. So overall, my bias would be bearish, but I would be very cautious of this particular level, because if the price holds above this level, it can go up as well. So let's take a look. There we go. So we are still getting these pins, but the thing to keep in mind here is all the pins are into the same support and level, support and resistance level. So now, because we have so many pins, I would look for my bias would be to the downside. But again, we have to be cautious because we haven't seen a close below these this previous level here. So let's see, basically what I'm looking for is a drop into the next level here and see if we get that. And this is where we kind of tend to get into trouble because price tends to go sideways. So there's really no clear market direction in this case. It's just a sideways move. And when you're trading in live market conditions, this is when we generally tend to get in trouble. So what's the best way to handle these kind of scenarios? One is that overall our bias is to the downside, but there may be other charts that provide us better candlesticks. So we could always trade those. But based on this one, I'm looking for price to drop. So let's see if that happens. There we go. Now we are into the next support and resistance area. Price has reacted at that level previously. We saw a price held above and then pushed all the way up here, which means that's a strong level. And if we don't get a close, I'm looking for price to, my bias is still to the downside, but now I would be very cautious because that's a strong level. And if you don't get a close below, we're looking for price to go up. So bias would be to go test this level once again, but with caution. There we go. So as we can see, price tested this level, so it dropped, and then we have a bullish candle close. Now, this is a bullish candle close. However, it does not engulf the previous candle. What that means is that the bias is still to the downside, but we could pull up further. We could see price go further up. So we have to wait and see, or it could just drop from here and continue further. This could just be a pullback. So this will be one of those days where we would want to see another candle close and see what price does before us jumping all in into this one. And another thing you can do is look for price reaction at this particular support resistance area on a smaller time frame and then take a position. That's another option as well. So let's take a look. There we go. Price is very bearish, continuing on. So this is where price did not go to the other side, but it does look like, so it's kind of hard to say what happened under the live market conditions because we are looking backwards here. So it looks like a gap here. Price gap down for some reason. So that one we wouldn't know because we don't have the news that went with that particular event, but it looks like price is closing down. But overall, just from technical analysis perspective, bias is to the downside. Price rejects this level 3 times, then closes below, pulls back. Now we have a nice solid close below. And I'm just going to zoom out a bit so we can see what's coming up in terms of our support resistance here. So next level is this one. So where do we expect price to go? And then we have further support resistance levels. Any guesses on where we expect the price to go from here? So guess I have here is to the downside. So now I would look for a bit of a pullback here. Yeah, it could be the weekend that caused the gap to the downside. So here we have pullback. So that's what I was talking about. A lot of times when we get good solid candle closes here, we can pull back, but price is still holding below that level. It hasn't closed as a bullish engulfing candle. So with this one, if you had order like 50% pullback, we would be in the trade right now with bias to the downside. All right, so what are we expecting now? Chuman says to the downside. Let's take a look. Gaps up. That is a big gap up. So it looks like something is going in the market. And of course, we don't know with not having, not being able to see the news here, but we have a big bullish candle close here. So what do we expect? What do we expect after this one here? Okay, so we have down or up. So with this one, we have a big bullish candle close, but we are running into resistance, so that could be a problem. But since it's a bullish candle close, my bias will be to the upside, so we can get a bit of a pullback. And then I'm looking for price to go into the next level here, essentially into these pins. And let's see. Oh, it does not happen. So Joel, very good guess here. So there's certainly something going on in the market from about whenever this was live. These kind of things. So when we get such huge like jumps in price and we get back and forth, generally it's something going on from news perspective, from events perspective, just like we have all this. If you've been following the news, we have President Trump just announced that they're going to pull out of the Iran nuclear deal, and that is creating all kinds of speculations on what will happen to the oil price. Oil price is expected to go up because Iran is a big supplier of oil, crude oil, and if it doesn't, if Iran is out of the deal, then we could see price of oil go up because all of a sudden supply of oil would go down. So there's all these things that happen under the live market conditions, which we can't see here. But overall, though, that's a huge bearish candle close. Where are we expecting the price to go? Schumann says bullish CAD. Yes, I agree. Bullish CAD, and in the current moment, yes. Dollar, which means dollar CAD is bearish. So I'm looking for price to drop. And actually, I missed out on the dollar CAD trade. I was looking at it last night, but I had a friend in town, so I was running around doing some stuff, and so I did not have time to really place any trades overnight. But that was a missed opportunity. Dollar CAD dropped very nicely, and we have a bearish candle close on the current charts if you take a look at it. Oil price is expected to go back and go up in the third quarter, but because there will be speculations, because right now we have plenty of inventories, oil inventories. So right now we won't be experiencing any short-term shortage of oil. However, if it continues, then it's likely, or if they cannot negotiate anything, then we're likely to see the price of oil go up. But for now, so we'll wait and see. All right, so getting back to our back testing exercise here, big bearish candle close. So looking for pullback, and then overall the bias is to the downside. Let's take a look if you get a pullback here. There we go. See how price pulled back right into the same support and resistance area as it did previously. What do we expect now from here? Okay, so now that we have bearish candle close, we have a pullback. Overall direction is to the downside. So I'm looking for price to go into the next support and resistance area. And if you zoom out to see where we are in the grand scheme of things, this is where we are. And we could even have put a support resistance level right into here, because as we can see, this is the area where price is reacting, and it has reacted here multiple times. So now we are looking for down, Socrates. Okay. All right. So let's see everyone who's looking for price to go down. I'm looking for price to drop as well overall because it's bearish. Joel says sideways. It can very well go sideways because now we are stuck between these two levels. So if we were to remove this or take this away, we are kind of sideways here. And that tends to happen as well. After a big drop, price will go sideways before it picks a direction. So let's take a look. Okay, so price holds below this level, tries to break out, is not able to maintain that. So now we have a bearish engulfing candle close here. Price closes below our previous support and resistance level. Now where do we expect the price to go? Any guesses? Okay, with this one, since we have a bearish candle close, I am looking for price to drop. So let's see if we can get a drop here. So I'd be looking for price to go into this level, but do keep in mind there is a pin here as well. So this is not a major level, but there it is still a support level where price bounced off of a little bit. But since it's a bearish candle close, I'm looking for price to drop. My aim will be right over here, looking for it to drop that into the next level. So we're going sideways here, but overall we're still holding below the previous level. So bias is still down. Joel said down. Yeah, let's take a look. It does not break below. So now we are back into this previous support resistance area, but there's a large pin on the top here. When we see these kind of candles where we have a bullish candle close, but there's a large pin, generally what I find is price will try to test this level once again, but it doesn't have enough bullish momentum in it for it to continue too much further. So right now we have bullish candle close with the pin. So I'm looking for price to go test this level once again and potentially close lower and then drop from here. But if it closes to the other side, then I would be looking for price to go higher. So right now I'm just looking for a retest of that level and then price to close below that. And Joel says down as well. So let's take a look. Okay, so we closed on the other side, went right through this level. So now we are, as we can see, if we were to take this away, see how price is just sideways. So we are sideways at the moment. Now we do have a bullish candle close here. There is a pin on the top, which means there isn't very, very strong momentum like this one, but it does have that momentum to the upside. So I would actually be looking for price to go higher and see if it will test the top here, either the pins or top of this candle here. So there is still a lot of bullish momentum. So this candle here is stronger than this candle. And the reason for that is because here we have a large pin. So the size of the pin is larger than the size of the candle body here. Whereas with this one, we have a large bullish candle close. The size of the pin is smaller than the candle body. That means there's more momentum to the upside than there is to the downside. So let's take a look. I'm looking for price to go and test the resistance here. Shuman says test the resistance as well. Let's see if we get that right. Not so much. We have a bearish candle close. Price didn't quite make it higher. So what happened here is that it did. It pulled up, but it pulled up higher than the previous level we were looking at. So now we have a big bearish candle close. Where are we expecting it to go now? So price has done the sideways move for a while. And we can see the price is making lower highs here. We have a big bearish engulfing candle. So where do we expect it to go now? Okay, my guess will be to the downside. So I'm looking for a bit of a pullback and then still looking for price to drop into this next support and resistance level. So let's see if we get that. There we go. So it dropped into the next support and resistance level that we were watching. And now we have a bullish pin bar, large pin to the downside, bullish candle close. Where do we expect the price to go from here? Sure, a lot of times this happens when we have sideways move. It's nice when we have nice trending moves, because then we can actually just continue on with the move. But yeah, when price is going sideways, especially the way price was moving right here, it seems like there were some jitters in the market because there was no clear direction. It's just been choppy. So this is that happens. So this is where When we are trading under live market conditions, we want to drop the size that we are trading till market kind of finds its feet. And this is sort of what's happening in the market currently as well. It's just going back and forth. It is easy to take some losses when that is happening. And I certainly speak from experience. All right, so we have a bullish candle close. Football says we're looking for price to go higher. Let's see. I would say higher as well, because that's a bullish candle close. Joel says up. Let's see. Oh, not so much. So we're definitely taking losses here. So overall biases to the downside. This is definitely a failed pin bar. So it looks more like a pullback. And now we're experiencing a drop again. Now we are back into the next support and resistance area. So it looks like the down move has been it's just been choppy, but overall it's still keeping the momentum to the downside here. And now where do we expect the price to go after this? Okay, so for me, I would look for a pullback and then drop. So I'm looking for price to go into this level here. And actually, if you look to this side here, see when price was here, see how it just went back and forth. We had gaps down here, price moved up, moved down, and then slowly it started to build that momentum and coil to the upside, and then it just exploded from there. So here we are just going back and forth, and let's see if this is our move to the downside here. So with this one here, we are in bearish market conditions, so looking for price to pull back here and then drop. So let's see if we get that. Okay, didn't get quite the pullback, but we did see the drop. So now if we zoom out, let's see where we are. So now we are coming into some solid support here. So a couple of zones of support, a couple of levels of support, I should say. One is right below here and then one further down. And actually, if you take a look at it, that was quite a range. This price ranged for months. Just going back and forth in that range. If you were to take that, let's take these support resistance levels away, you will notice price just ranged, and we can take this away as well. So this was our inside range where price just ranged for months. It just went back and forth before it actually did anything. So now we are into important support, the previous support of the previous range. The momentum is to the downside. So I would be looking for price to go down, yeah, and we have to be cautious though. So let's take a look. Here we go, comes into the next support level, and then we have a bit of a bullish candle close here. What do we expect next? Okay, with this one here, I would, we could get another price move to the upside, but overall we're still in the bearish direction here. So we need to wait for, and if you take a look here, there is still room for it to go to the downside, but now we are definitely getting into that support level where things could reverse. So here, not exactly a bullish engulfing candle close, so we're not completely bullish, but price could pull back higher here. Let's see. It doesn't. It goes still maintaining the momentum to the downside. So overall bias still stays to the downside. I'm looking for price to drop into that level still. Let's see if you get that. Here we are. Now we are into the next support level. And the candle close is nice. Where do we expect the price to go now? Here we are. If we look back, we're into the bottom of this range. So we have up, down. All right, let's take a look. So overall bias is still to the downside. We do have momentum to the downside. Let's see if we can get a further drop. But because we are into that strong support, if we get any kind of bullish engulfing candle here, we would be looking for reversals. Okay, a lot of up. I would not change my bias just yet, just because it is important candle close. So this will be one of those times when we are looking for price to close on a lower time frame. So price closes on below this level here. I'm looking for price to drop further. So overall, my bias still stays to the downside till we get a bullish engulfing candle or some sort of a bullish reversal candle. So let's take a look. Ooh, big bearish candle. All right, so buy still stays bearish, and let's take a look. Now we have gone all the way down here. We have bypassed all kinds of support. That's quite a quite a bearish candle here. Bulls went to the holiday. They did go for a holiday. That was quite a drop. I was looking for at least some sort of pullback, but overall momentum still stays to the downside. So let's, so for this one here, I would look for a bit of a pullback, and then we could see a drop. So overall momentum is still bearish. The bias is still bearish. So let's take a look. Here we go. I came into the next level, and now we have a bullish pin bar again, just like this one here. Nice bullish pin bar. So why don't we wrap it up for the day here? So we'll have to be continued, like our soap opera. We'll continue this again tomorrow. I will be back and we'll do another session. So hopefully you guys found this exercise helpful. The reason I like doing this is it's a good idea to train your eyes to watching price, especially if you are a price action trader. If you want to get better at reading price action, this is a great way to just accustom our eyes to seeing the price moves, because it's the same thing regardless of the time frame. When we have a 5-minute chart, the moves won't go as far because we'll run into those support resistance areas a lot quicker and price can turn. Whereas when we have larger time frame, the price will tend to go further with that. This is a good way for us to get used to the rhythms of the market, because it's not just like price doesn't just drop all the way. We just go back and forth. So this kind of waves that the market creates, this is a good way to get used to that. All right, so we'll wrap it up here. You guys have a wonderful evening, and I will be back again tomorrow, and we'll continue the fun tomorrow. Bye for now.